Happening now, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist delivered his 2023 State of the City address. We hear his achievements, as well as pushback. And the prices at the pumps keep on rising. We look at the unusual increase for this time of the year. Plus, a new restaurant is coming to the village of Falconer. What those at the familiar location have to say.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Bronson Rasmussen in for Justin Gould. Those stories. Mayor Eddie Sundquist delivered the 2023 State of the City address Monday, which highlighted the achievements Jamestown has made within the past year. Our Julia Gress breaks down what the mayor had to say.
After inheriting a city on the verge of financial collapse, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist says the city now has the largest fund balance in decades, all without raising taxes.
We've settled every single union contract, something that hasn't been achieved in years. Saddled with legacy healthcare costs, we worked with unions and retirees on a new healthcare option.
The mayor also cited new cybersecurity technology, improvements to school zones, investment in parks, and creating a municipal broadband network as some of the city's biggest accomplishments. Funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, however, will have the most effect on Jamestown.
We've replaced over 100 heavily damaged roofs across Jamestown, cost-free to working class and middle class homeowners. We've given businesses affected by the pandemic resources and investments to hire more people locally, and a substantial amount of funds to demolish blighted buildings and redevelop properties for first-time, low-income homebuyers.
Public safety came to the forefront in the past year, with the city hiring new police officers and approving a new gun task force and a quality of life officer.
We welcome an increase in firefighters through rescue plan funding, allowing the city to not only increase fire protection, but EMS coverage.
The Department of Public Works worked on record miles of roads, renovations of city parking garages, stormwater retention ponds, and many more infrastructure projects. The city also began construction of the new fleet maintenance facility, which will be completed in 2023. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. And while the mayor was highlighting his achievements, lawmakers and community members alike had feedback on the mayor's remarks. For council members like Councilwoman at Large, Kim Eklund, the lack of communication between the council and the mayor's office is a big concern.
Not being political, I was a little disappointed in the lack of mention of the involvement of City Council and the collaboration between administration and legislative body, because one doesn't exist without the other, and both need to work cohesively.
Of all the points the mayor presented, concerns were raised over what the cannabis industry will do to Jamestown.
It was cited in his address that hundreds of jobs were going to be created here in the cannabis industry. And we have mounted on the city's webpage, "Come grow with us." I'm all for innovation, but I'm not for identifying hundreds of jobs as a viable economic development plan for the city of Jamestown.
Some, however, do see the benefits.
I recently met with someone who's in charge of the Cannabis Control Board in Denver, and she talked to me about the challenges, the pitfalls, the successes, and so forth. And they were able to raise, I think, the city of Denver $70 million last year alone. Obviously, Denver's a huge city, but you know, there's opportunities there.
In the end, a lot has been done in the past few years.
We've made some great strides in a terrible time in COVID, in his time as mayor. There certainly has been some great progress, and I really would like to continue to work together, legislative and administration, to make some of these projects come to fruition in the outset.
Well, switching gears a little bit, we'll get to our first weather segment of the day with Chief Forecaster Andrew Stevenson, who is standing by, and there's still snow out there, although I heard it's going to get worse by the end of the week.
Not so much the snow, but it will get colder by the end of the week, I guarantee you that. Right now, over the Randolph Peaches and Cream Sky Camera, we got lots of clouds out there. There are a couple peaks of sunshine trying to peek through those clouds right now. You can see on first defense Doppler right, a couple flurries this morning. Otherwise cloudy skies. If you look down to the south across northwestern Pennsylvania, we do have some sunshine trying to break through those clouds. We'll get a couple peaks this afternoon, hopefully. The high yesterday was 29 degrees. The low was 21. The records for today, the record high 60 degrees set back in 2013, and a record low negative 14 set back in 1948. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, generally mostly cloudy skies. We'll have a few limited peaks of sunshine this afternoon with a northwest wind of 3 to 8 miles per hour. And it'll be a chilly day on tap with high temperatures for today in the upper teens to lower 20s, but it's going to get colder than that. And I'll let you know coming up in the full forecast details.
Alrighty, Andrew, thank you much. As WNY News Now continues, a new business is opening its doors in Falconer this week at a location familiar to many in the area. And later, we break down what you're seeing at the pumps as gas prices continue to increase locally. Stay with us as WNY News Now will be right back.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
So you think you can cook? We're looking for chefs ready to test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine. Judged by a panel of local celebs, chefs are tested in 3 rounds before a winner is crowned. So you think you can cook? Register online at stsusancenter.org. Produced by Channel 716. All proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than DeWyas Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on DeWyas Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. DeWyas Auto Service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A new restaurant is opening in the village of Falconer this Wednesday, and as our Alyssa Wright reports, it is located in a familiar location to many who frequent the area.
General Manager Dylan LaBarbera is making the final preparations needed before opening the doors and serving some tasty meals.
This is about 5-6 months in the works. It was a slow process. Kind of just wanted to take our time, make sure we did everything right.
LaBarbera is overjoyed to start serving hungry customers.
We're opening this Wednesday, February 1st, and after all the posts on Facebook, everyone seems pretty excited. I would say I'm most excited to start a new adventure in my life. I've always wanted to own my own business, so this is like a pretty cool stepping stone for me to be the general manager of a business like this.
The restaurant strives to bring a new aesthetic to the dining experience while keeping a homey feel as well.
It's pretty much going to be your basic breakfast and lunch menus with a little bit of a modern twist on everything. As you can see in here, we kind of have a modern little twist on it, but we want to keep it simple. We want to keep everyone able to get what they love and get those regulars in here.
The venture did face a few problems, but LaBarbera believes a solution has been made.
Our 2 things when we got to opening this were mosquitoes and obviously work. It's hard to find work lately, so we found what we think is going to be a great team. And in the summer, we're going to open up this patio, we're going to enclose it, and we're going to have a couple heaters out there, and we'll have double the dining space out there, so it'll be awesome.
To see a full menu and updates on the Maple Tree Cafe and Ice Cream, you can visit their Facebook page. Alyssa Wright, WNY News Now.
Alyssa, thank you. If prices at the pump seem to be on the rise, you would be right. AAA says that the national average for regular gas has jumped to $3.50 a gallon. That's a 12-cent increase from last week and a 40-cent increase over the last month, and more than 9% since the end of last year. Locally, New York State's average price as of Tuesday was $3.57 a gallon, with Chautauqua County's average at $3.62 a gallon. However, nearby Cattaraugus County recorded a decrease in price, reporting an average gas price of $3.51 a gallon. The rise is unusual for this time of the year. Prices are usually lower due to winter weather keeping more people off the roads. The problem seems to be supply. Extreme weather as much of the United States is near the end of last year caused a series of outages at the refineries that produce the gasoline, jet fuel, and diesel. Monday, lawmakers and advocates lobbied for a bill intending to further protect children during child custody and visitation proceedings. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein breaks down this legislation and talks to advocates about why the bill is so important to them.
On July 27, 2016, while sleeping in her bed, 2-year-old Kira Franchetti was shot in the back twice by her father, who then set his house on fire and committed suicide. A few days prior to the unsupervised court-mandated visit with her father, Jacqueline Franchetti, Kira's mother, says her fiercely independent toddler learned to roll down a hill for the first time. Franchetti says she did everything she could to protect Kira, warning the Long Island court handling her case that her ex-boyfriend was unstable and violent and should not be allowed unsupervised time with their daughter. But the family court system, she says, failed her.
And every day, I see the school bus go by my house, and I know Kira's not on it. And I read headlines of other children who have been murdered and taken by an abusive parent who should have been protected, and who weren't.
The bill requires the court to consider a child's health and safety when making a decision regarding child custody and visitation. It also requires officials to take part in training to handle cases involving domestic violence and child abuse. Some lawmakers say the family court system is broken, and this bill is necessary to repair it.
No longer will we allow courts and judges the ability, the option to make a child's health and safety paramount. Right now, they could do that.
In an email to WNY News, the New York State Unified Court System declined to comment on this legislation. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
In Harrisburg, PA, House Republicans discuss school choice and why they say support for charter schools is crucial in Pennsylvania. Republicans hosted a policy committee hearing this afternoon and say the state's charter law needs an update. They argue charter institutions provide more opportunities for more students and that their funding should reflect that. Some Republicans also expressed frustration with the lack of action, and partisan gridlock has literally locked the doors to the lower chamber.
I mean, I'm tired, frankly, of talking about the other stuff. It's worn on for far too long. All we can do is, as members of both parties, is start educating ourselves on the issues that we know that we're going to be playing a big part in, and then we'll be ready to move forward as soon as everybody else gets their act together.
The House Democratic Caucus says that they have always been education champions for both students and teachers. They say with adequate and equitable funding, public schools will be equipped to ensure the next generation of Pennsylvanians are college and career ready. Well, coming up, the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. We hear from what those at the White House have to say. And later, do you know where your monkeys are? That's the question being asked to a Texas zoo, as some have come up missing. But first, we return with a look at our full weather forecast as WNY News Now returns.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
There are two silver linings here. One, that no injuries were reported, and two, they were able to contain the fire from spreading further.
Western New York has a new congressional member representing them.
One of the things that made Betty White so unique was the fact that she connected generations of fans throughout the decades. Take a look at the display here.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
So you think you can cook? We're looking for chefs ready to test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine. Judged by a panel of local celebs, chefs are tested in 3 rounds before a winner is crowned. So you think you can cook? Register online at stsusancenter.org. Produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights.
Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
to help you.
to save you.
Despite the danger.
This danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we got mainly cloudy skies out there. Currently at the Jamestown Airport, 18 degrees with a west wind of 3 miles per hour and visibility of 5 miles at the airport. Here's some of the snowfall reports from the past 24 hours from across the region. Randolph at 3 inches, Cattaraugus 2.5 inches. The Jamestown Airport reported 1.8 inches, Falconer at 1.5, Fredonia at 1, and the Erie Airport in Erie, Pennsylvania just about 1/10 of an inch. Here's what's happening across the Northeast right now. Not really much happening across the Northeast, just a couple of light snow showers streaming off the lakes. The bigger weather, the more active what I should say, is across the south as portions of Texas are doing winter storm warnings, and we even have something we don't see very often, ice storm warnings for portions of Arkansas and Tennessee, and they're looking up upwards of a 1/2 inch of ice, so they're really going to have difficult travel over the next day or so. With a 1/2 inch of ice, traveling will be difficult to impossible across the areas down there. So back here though, we're not having to deal with any of the ice through the rest of the afternoon out there. Mostly cloudy skies, a couple peaks of sunshine, a couple snow flurries possible. That continues into night, mostly cloudy skies, a couple snow showers, and basically the same thing for tomorrow. Mostly cloudy skies, some limited sunshine, a couple flurries are possible. And then as we head into Wednesday night into Thursday, we should break out into more sunshine as we head into Thursday. We might even go partly to mostly sunny skies on Thursday before an Arctic cold front plows by the region Thursday night, and that's going to really drop the temperatures as we head into Friday. But there is some good news. The Arctic air will not last long, as the NOAA 8 to 14 day temperature outlook favors above average temperatures across much of the east of the United States. So if you don't like the colder weather, the warmer weather is returning as we head into starting at least next week. Now the next 7 days brought to you by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Decreasing clouds tomorrow, temperatures in the lower 20s. We'll go lower 30s on Thursday with partly mostly sunny skies, and then that Arctic cold front moves through Thursday night into Friday with some light snow. Temperatures on Friday near 10 degrees, -5 for overnight lows Friday night into Saturday. Saturday looks dry, a little warmer with temperatures near 20, and then we warm it up continuing into Sunday with a few rain and snow showers, and we might make it run close to 40 heading into Monday next week, Bronson.
Well, at least that cold weather will get over with sooner than later, it seems. Now some headlines from around the nation. President Joe Biden plans to lift the COVID-19 national and public health emergencies this spring. The White House says it will end May 11th. Along with that, will come to the end of the Title 42 policy at the border. While the Biden administration has attempted to terminate this policy, it has remained in place because of orders issued by the Supreme Court and a district court in Louisiana. The White House says Biden supports an orderly, predictable wind down of Title 42. allowing enough time to establish alternative policies. The International Monetary Fund's latest report calls for a slight slowdown in global growth this year. However, the rate of decline forecast isn't as steep as some economists previously forecasted. John Larnick reports.
The International Monetary Fund says global growth will drop from 3.4% last year to 2.9% in 2023.
This is the first time in quite a while that we've had sort of good news in that sense.
Although the rate is expected to fall 0.5%, it's still higher than the 2.7% that was forecast in October. The IMF says China and India will provide the biggest boost for worldwide growth, while the U.S.'s rate of development is forecast to be 1.4%.
This is not recession territory. I mean, actually, the labor market is doing very, very strongly right now.
And while we're on the subject of the U.S. economy,
Congress has gone for decades, both parties, on a spending spree. If the economy's as strong as President Biden claims, then now's the time to try to tighten the belt.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is scheduled to meet with President Joe Biden on Wednesday to address the U.S. reaching its $31.4 trillion debt limit. This comes after 24 Senate Republicans sent a letter to Biden saying they won't back a debt ceiling increase without at least equal spending reductions imposed. The president's message for McCarthy and the GOP?
Show me your budget, I'll show you mine.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
On Sunday, Speaker McCarthy told CBS that as far as cuts to Medicare and Social Security, he wanted to, quote, take those off the table. Well, there appears to be some serious monkey business around the Dallas Zoo. Workers say 2 Emperor Tamarin monkeys are missing. Dallas police believe a cut in their enclosure was made intentionally. Zoo officials say escaped monkeys would likely stay nearby, but a search of the zoo and surrounding area didn't turn anything up, so investigators believe they may have been taken. This comes after a string of incidents involving animal enclosures, including a leopard escaping a couple weeks ago. Now, that leopard was found on zoo grounds the same day. It was discovered missing. Police determined the mesh in its enclosure was torn on purpose. Well, next, one of the most iconic museums in Washington, D.C. is closing its doors next month. We hear the reason why next.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
Police and other local law enforcement agencies are looking for the person responsible for a shooting.
One of the benefits of this new feature is it not only works with the newer parking meters that the city's been rolling out, but these traditional meters as well.
From muddy trails to slick cliff edges to structures that have fallen into disrepair, these are just some of the problems that this park faces.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Blood and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Noah. Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
So you think you can cook? We're looking for chefs ready to test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine. Judged by a panel of local celebs, chefs are tested in 3 rounds before a winner is crowned. So you think you can cook? Register online at stsusancenter.org. Produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
If you visited our nation's capital, there's a good chance you walked around the National Mall, where the majority of museums are located. But starting in February, one of the most iconic buildings on that stretch will be closed for a number of years. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp takes you inside the building known as the Castle.
Along the National Mall, across from the National Museum of Natural History, is the Smithsonian Institution building, but it's locally known as the Castle. The design, the red brick color, the glass windows, features that live up to its nickname.
Nothing looks like the castle.
Linda St. Thomas with the Smithsonian says it was built in 1855. It now serves as the institution's administrative headquarters.
This is the very first building on the National Mall. I mean, if you look at historic photos, you see all this grassland and then there's this building in the middle of it. So it is the very first building on the mall and the first building of the Smithsonian Institution.
But come February, it will be closed for the next 5 years for renovations.
This room right here, this is called the Great Hall. And the wall behind us is all an addition put in the 60s, and the same over here. The Great Hall really was meant to go all the way, can you see those double doors? Go all the way to those double doors. So this is an artificial wall right here to accommodate a cafe and a shop. But in the new look, when we're done in 5 years, this will all be open the way it was in the late 1800s. 2 stories high, these beautiful big columns, and the cafeteria, a restaurant, restrooms, and a shop will be on the lower level. So this will all be wide open for the public, for a visitor center, events, and just a public gathering place.
Bringing this iconic building back to the way it was meant to be. In Washington, D.C., Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. I don't know about you, Andrew. Have you ever been to D.C.? Have you been to the museums?
No, but I think a good time to walk around D.C. is when you get in the springtime and when you get the cherry blossoms starting to bloom out on the trees down there. Now, that would be a good time to go down there and visit the Washington, D.C.
I don't even think you were here, and Justin and I were talking about that yesterday.
We're taking a field trip this spring. We'll do the news from down there with the cherry blossoms coming out. Field trip in February. Bronson's taking us.
I can't wait for it. Let's see those cherry blossoms. The museums themselves are actually pretty nice. I've been to a few many, many years ago now, but I actually did not go there, and now I guess I can't for another 5 years or so, unless I go tomorrow. Think Justin will let me?
No, probably not. Well, I guess we can take a field trip in 5 years. We'll see where we're all at 5 years from now.
Well, news always continues. Isn't that how it is?
Yep.
I guess we can't have days off.
Well, Justin got a day off today.
Although, unless it gets too bad out there, we all get to stay home, just like this weekend, maybe?
Yeah, it might be cold this weekend, but we're not going to really have a lot of snow to deal with. At least the cold is not going to last very long. The NOAA 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, as I told you earlier, favors above average temperatures. So while it will be cold Friday to Saturday, the temperatures warm up as we head into next week, and they continue to warm up through the middle of February as the eastern half of the United States will be dealing with above average temperatures. Now, we're not talking about 50s and 60s, but we're talking about upper 30s and even the 40s possible. So the warmer air looks like it's returning as it has been most of this winter. We haven't really had any blast of chilly weather except for over Christmas.
There was that time at Thanksgiving too. A little chilly, but snowy.
Snowy, but mostly it's been fairly warm this winter. Lack of snow too, and here's a preview. I'll be talking about how much snow we haven't gotten coming up tomorrow.
Can't wait to see it, Andrew. Well, that's it for us today. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. And we'll leave you with a look from outside our studio today. We'll see you next time